This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch. Hello, my name's Tambuatco. Welcome to our program. In the world today, there's a lot of disruptions. And when you say disruption, this just only means change. Now, we all know we've adapted to change because the only thing that is permanent is change. But what exactly are these changes that we call disruption? Well, you've got the internet, the new innovations. You've got, let's see, can you say a successful dictator that has suppressed his people to have become the leader? The Fidel Castro that just passed away? I'm not sure I know where that stands or where I stand with that issue. We've got a president we thought was different. We've got Duterte, definitely different. But a Trump, gee. But then again, you've got the Brexit. What if there was a Frexit? Already the Americans are talking they want a California exit, Clexit. Then again, we've got the federations in the country. We're moving forward to a federalism, and they're looking at 12 federal states. Maybe we will have a Mindanao exit, an Iloxit, whatever that is. These disruptions always change. And don't forget, innovations will always come in, and these will always cause these disruptions. To discuss these issues with us, we've broken the show into segments. The first to discuss the issues, meaning the global changes, the global challenges. And on the second segment, looking inward and looking at the Philippine situation as far as Philippine challenges. We have with us, on my far right, we've got Jason Smith, who's the CEO of SBTV, that's Super Brands TV. He goes around the world representing Super Brands in all the many countries. We are in 93 countries worldwide, and he does many things he goes around giving awards, basically. He's single, rich, and good looking, so good luck, girls. Then we've got no less a handsome columnist who represents infrastructure. We've got Ricky Ramos, who's been in the show many a times. We discuss politics, we discuss industry, we discuss all sorts of things. But then again, the main issues is not about De Lima or Dayan or the senator or the vice president and Bongbong to be the new vice. It's not about EDSA all the time. It's not about the mining. It's about the disruptions, these little things that keep erupting all over the place, that makes change to bring us to where we are today and where we hopefully want to be in the future. Hi guys, thanks for being here. Yeah, it's a little long and a little exasperating, so forgive me for that. Let's look at global changes. What do you think are the global changes and disruptions to you that are important today? I made my own list, and I know you guys didn't know because I didn't tell you the topic until you got to the show. Let's start with you, Jason.
That's unfair.
Yeah, I know it is, but then again, you two are glib enough to be able to carry it off.
Yeah, well, I'm a contrarian, so I think freedom of speech is a problematic issue. There's lots of little encroachments now which have legal ramifications on people in what they can and can't say. Global monitoring.
Are you discussing Ed Snowden? Are you talking about Russia? Or are you talking about a problematic country?
Just generally. I mean, the only constitutionally protected free speech country in the world where you can literally say anything you want as long as it doesn't incite violence is the United States.
Australia?
No, we don't actually. We have politically constitutionally protected free speech. But if you want to criticize any sort of ideology, if you want to criticize any sort of bad ideas,
it doesn't follow.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's relatively strict.
Yeah, it's relatively strict. And because of the internet, we now have a culture of people where they're growing up wanting to express their ideas, but are now finding legal blockages to what they can and they can't say, as well as all this racist shaming.
So you're for a liberalism and open speech to be able to say what you think and feel?
Well, because that's the only way we can circumvent going down a bad idea road. So if we have the ability to openly criticize it, then we can learn from it. If we're not allowed to speak about it, what can you do? What can you change it?
Okay, fair, fair. Ricky, how about you? I'll keep going back and forth.
Well, I think it's more of the issue of stability in the region. You have the Arab Spring some years back. It started in Tunisia, then it spread to Libya and to Egypt. And if you look at the situation now, it seems that we were better off before than what the world is today. And then you move up north to the Middle East, you have this problem with Syria. You know, the assessment of the State Department in Syria was that it would be over and done with in about 3 years, but things have deteriorated.
So you're saying war?
Well, basically
the
now...
The concept of war is no good.
Yeah, basically now, when you're talking of like in Syria, what's happening
Aleppo,
there.
Mosul, yeah. I mean, look at the place. It's
you're looking
rebels.
at very, you know, before it was just terrorism, but now you have something like the ISIS, which would complicate it more.
Well, it's a civil war, I think. You've got all the different groups that are fighting each other.
And of course, if you look at what's happening from what started in North Africa to what's there in the Middle East, then you now have the problems of migration to Europe, right? So all of these are interconnected, and even...
we do what Australia do. Send them away. Send them to Christmas Island.
Stay out of it.
Stay out, We'll do the same.
Yeah, and so even, you know, Chancellor Angela Merkel, I'm a great admirer of her, is now having problems. There's a lot of dissent, opposition in Germany, because she has committed to accept millions of refugees. And of course, you have issues with this one. So I think all of these are affecting everything.
So war, basically war.
Yeah. It's,
regardless of cause, advocacy, it's war.
You know, this thing is unprecedented. I mean, what's happening now in Europe with the, you know, with the exodus of migrants. And of course, you also have the issue that not all of them are economic migrants, right? Some are there for other reasons, like, you know, like probably terrorism and all of that.
Livelihood, they also want to eat. In their places, they've been shooting each other so much, there's nothing to eat any longer. Another global challenge, in your mind?
The Trump presidency has caused...
You couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist, because it's just caused so much uncertainty. But the thing is, I found myself during this election, I've always been a liberal, but the liberal values today have become so weird, and they really can't define what they want. So I found myself...
The parameters are difficult to identify.
Tending towards conservatism. It's an odd feeling, shifting sides, sort of. But,
another issue.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit more about Trump.
Let me identify to you. They have what they call the Eurobarometer. The Eurobarometer, they've identified by going towards a number of industries that cut across from manufacturing to whatnot, all the way to the net, as well as professionals and the academe. And they've identified some, if you agree or disagree. One, why? Well, the first is food security. That is the biggest singular global challenge. From 6 billion people up to 8 billion. You agree?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Then we've got why we should grow, or the different countries around the world should grow inclusively, meaning getting rid of inequality. That's what the Eurobarometer says, which are the real global. Do you agree with that?
Well, the biggest problem I see is the definition of equality. There's actually two spectrums to this. There's
financial, economic.
No. There's the equality of outcome, which is everyone should get the same irrespective of who they are, and the equality of opportunity, so everyone has the same starting point. One of the biggest problems is so many liberals and people today think that the rich should just give to the poor.
I tell you, wait, let me see. I think they were in Luneta recently. But go ahead.
But we've realized that just doesn't work. Putting so many government regulations on things in order to create this equality of outcome, like you have in places like Australia, the UK, Scandinavia, it's not seeming
So inequality is not an issue.
Inequality is an issue, but it is an issue at the point of opportunity, not at the point of outcome. We should not be limiting people.
So we should accept inequality.
We should do our best to fight it, but accept that it is there.
That it is there, and it will stay.
Yes, it probably will stay.
Okay. What would the world look like, so it seems? Climate change is one of the top issues. Do you agree that Trump says it doesn't? I remember a statement made by the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles. If we don't follow the concept of climate change and what's going on, like petrol fuel, the reduction of fuel, fossil fuel, eventually we might find out too late if we don't abide by fixing it today, paying not attention to it today. It may be too late in the future. So it may be a better strategy, whether it's true or not, to abide by it. Now, there are a lot of disruptors, like Putin doesn't think so. To a certain extent, neither did President Duterte.
Yeah.
Do you agree with climate change being one of the world issues?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been with the environmental movement over the last 30, 40 years. And before, I mean, climate change was not the term. You're looking at global warming, you know.
Correct. That was the first few titles.
And
ozone layer, sort of.
Yeah, the ozone layer.
The depletion. The depletion
of the ozone.
You know, in 1992, I was in Washington, D.C. I had an appointment with the guys here at the Environmental Protection Agency. We were discussing it. I was also doing it in my capacity as the consultant to the Senate Chairman Committee on Environment.
So
Senator
you agree, climate change?
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. And
Alvarez,
basically what I was saying then, and this is 25 years ago, I was telling people, I said, okay, I'm talking about these things, global warming, now climate change. I said, you know, nobody would listen to me until it's too late. And that was 25 years ago. So we're here, where we are.
Well, we've got the Paris Accord, but then again, it's sad, America never even agreed to the Kyoto Protocol when it first started 25 years ago. The next one is, what is the future for global finance? Now, this is more on your side, being a banker.
Global finance at the moment seems to be quite a problem because previously, 100 years ago, no one was saddled with really any debt except, of course, if they got involved in a war. Now, nearly every country in the world is completely saddled with debt.
Well, I don't see how a bank can close. It's almost impossible.
Oh, not if Obama keeps bailing them out. It's becoming more of a systemic problem throughout the world, and it's one of those issues where governments need to align themselves with academics and professionals in the industry to be able to solve it. But
so you agree, the future of global finance is a big issue?
Yes, it is a big issue, definitely. Yeah.
Let me outline just a couple more. The future of the internet. Would you say that's a global challenge?
Well, definitely it is. I mean, you know, the internet has really changed the world. And if you go back to media or the press, for instance, alone, we have now social media. Okay, social media now is even more powerful than the traditional media, basically with print and you know, broadcast media. And so definitely you have a lot of potentials there that can be done for the common good.
Let me read this short sentence. We are entering the age of the fourth industrial revolution, a technological information transformation driven by an ubiquitous and mobile internet. The challenge is not to manage this seismic change in a way that promotes the long-term health and stability of the internet. So do you see the internet and its future to be a problem?
I see the biggest problem with the internet is government imposition on it.
So information, and this time, too much regulation.
Yes.
Like what China's doing.
Too much regulation, as always. Yeah.
Okay, it sounds good. Will the future be gender equal. Is this a global challenge? The Eurobarometer says it is. Can you imagine we're back to this? I thought we were done with the 50s and gender inequality. Is it going to be gender equal? Is this a problem?
Can I dispel that wage gap myth? Because in the US, this has been propagated even by Obama because he actually got his facts wrong. They said something like 77 cents on the dollar for women versus men. This is actually incorrect because if you look at the statistics, men work longer hours. Men also have far more dangerous jobs. They have jobs which they will die in that women do not want to do. And hence, that's why it came out in that particular instance of 77 cents on the dollar. But if they're doing the same job, the same amount of hours, without maternity leave, they're getting
So you
paid
disagree
the same
that this
amount.
is a global challenge?
It's a global challenge in some places. It's not a challenge in the Western countries anymore.
Last two. What's the deal with global trade and investment? Is that a global challenge? Is this a problem?
Well,
Status quo.
Well, global trade, when you're talking of investments,
I mean, can the world exist without having another country to help provide, if not give or take?
Well, can the world exist without China at the moment? I don't know.
There you go. Good point. And the last one. How can we make healthcare fit for the future? Do you agree with all these global challenges? These are identified by what they call the Eurobarometer, obviously by the Europeans, whether they're true or not, whether you and I agree or not. Now, let's not try to discuss that issue any longer. We're going to have to take a short break. But when we come back, knowing these are the issues that we've all discussed, plus those that you have promoted, introduced, let's see how these issues are our issues here in the Philippines. If there is a significance, and how it rates, and what are the issues? Is it the Lima? Is it the senator? Is it Trillanes? Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a comedy. Actually, this is quite a serious show. But sometimes the topic goes wayward and it becomes comedy. It becomes sexist as well when we start talking of Dayan and his experiences. Now, either way, the Congress and when they start to question, then it can become very exciting and violent when we talk about the Abu Sayyaf and the Maoti group and the violence and the drugs that are hitting the streets. Then again, is politics for entertainment? Is this for critical analysis? Is this for basic consumption by the regular people? Or is it just what we do on a daily basis? Stay tuned, we'll be right back.